Okay. I think I got everybody in here. There's a couple more women I'm just not sure of, but I will add them. See what happens. Hopefully it's not some nude stripper or something that comes in here. I'm terrified.
Well, if that will make the bookie any better.
Okay. Let me start off by, obviously we're here for our March Book of the Month chat, Sister Souljah's Life After Death. I finished today reading on a speed of 1.8 to get through this thing today. Highly disappointed. I can't even tell y'all what I just finished reading. That's where I'm at with this. 2 stars for me.
You actually give it 2?
Yeah, and that was being generous. I know. It was. I was like, what the hell are we like? What are we watching right now? What's going on? Like, it's just. Anyways, how did y'all feel?
It was the worst.
Yes.
It was like somebody said, she owe us a movie for Coldest Winter Ever now for making us read that book.
Yes. At least.
Well, she was on Demetria Lucas's podcast, and she said that she is working on sorry, the dog's
You're fine.
She's working on the script apparently for Coldest Winter Ever. But this one, keep in. No movie.
The Zeus.
He didn't like the book either. He didn't.
Zeus hated this book.
It took me much longer to read it just because, I wait till closer to book chat to read our book of the month and stuff like that. And the combination of just seeing y'all's post about it, I was just like, I'm not excited about this at all. The audiobook did help because if I was reading this physically, ain't no way. Like, there's just no way.
Yeah, I had to read a review that somebody was like, yeah, I had to speed it up because she really was reading very slow. Yeah. So I had to put it at like 1.6 for it to actually like move along, like finish what you were saying. Come on now, let's get through this sentence. So it was, I was glad that I read that from somebody else's post. I gave it a 3. I was just disappointed because that's not what I was expecting either. Like she got shot right away. I was like, God dang, well, damn, right. What's the book going to be about then if she's dead? Like, but I kind of seen like what she was doing a little bit. Like she was explaining that basically she was the same Winter, even in death, even though she got killed, she was still herself. She wasn't going to change for nobody until the very end. I mean, like she was doing stuff and I was like, it's just, have you not learned the lesson?
Same
Especially when she was with Satan and she did that, so let me do it. Did you not learn that if that happens, you're going to turn into an animal? What part of that didn't you understand the first time that happened? And you've been told that that's what's going to happen. Like, why would you even consider that? Just because she didn't turn into it right away, you're like, oh, it's okay. No. Like, come on, girl. Thank you.
And that was when we did the book in February. Jess and I did the chat, and that was our problem with her in the first rereading the first book is, you just don't care. Like you have this much money, but yet you're concerned about going and buying new outfits and things like that. It's like you're living in the streets. Like be smart, and it's just the same. It's the same Winter. Like you would think after being in jail for 15 years, you'd, change a little bit, but no, she's still about that life.
Well, it seemed like when she was in jail, she was like top dog. So she, she was
need to learn a lesson.
Like her same self, like she was a princess in jail. So
Yeah, I feel like that was my problem with the book. It was like no character development from the Coldest Winter Ever. It was just like, how do you spend so much time in jail and then you get out and you are the exact same, like you have the exact same mentality, the exact same like thinking. I bought the physical copy, but I also had to do the Audible because it was just like after page 10, I was just like, I'm not gonna be able to make it through this book. But I wanted to like get to the end because I was just like, I loved, like reading Coldest Winter Ever like so many years ago. I loved it. So it's just like it has to be like a silver lining in this book, and like sadly it was not.
All right, I need to kick somebody out already. Hang on a second.
I was kind of expecting her to give us some of the story of how it was more in prison for her. We got a little bit of it with her connecting back with Simone, but I wanted to hear more of that. And then when she got out, I wanted to hear more of a connection, like I knew she couldn't be with Midnight because I read the Midnight books, but I wanted to hear more of that story develop. And we heard a glimpse of, oh, they were fighting for the sisters, but then we don't hear nothing else about the last two sisters. You know, I felt like she left so much stuff unanswered, but we just go straight to this, oh, she's in the afterworld thing. And like you said, when she knew she was changing into animals, that was it for me. Like, oh, you just gonna keep going back. Oh, you gonna keep going back.
Yeah. Hang on, let's see.
About my personal experience and people that I've interacted with who are in and out of prison. And I realized that isn't the case with Winter. I wasn't really expecting much change in her in terms of like, what lessons are you really going to learn just based off her character from the Coldest Winter Ever. But it was extremely disappointing to see that she died in the first couple of pages, because I'm like, oh, okay, so we're literally not going to learn anything about how she actually spent her time in prison, or learn very little about it. And yeah, I don't know. The dog, the animals, I just don't get it.
Lost me. Yeah, the snake. I was like, what are we doing right now?
I don't get it at all. Yeah. So it's a 1 for me. I'm sorry.
I'm with you. It's a 1 for me. This was just like, and you know, I've read books before where I was like, okay, maybe they wrote it this crazy to make me feel the crazy, you know, to make me feel as disjointed. But this one, I don't think that's what it was. Like, I'm trying to think of which book it was. There was some book that I finally was like, I get it. She wrote it like this to make me feel Monday's Not Coming. I feel like she purposefully wrote that book to make you feel confused, like the character felt. But this one, I just think it was just bizarro. It was wild. It was like the dog.
And someone who finished the book, I'm sorry, Des, I thought you were finished. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
And someone who actually finished the book explained to me what all the 6s meant. It was like a 6 every other sentence, or an exponent of 6, or a multiple of 6.
Is the devil's number.
Devil.
6. But she wasn't using 666. It was just
Lucifer
6.
66 or whatever. Yeah.
And 6 this and 16. It was just, I'm telling you, I started to play a drinking game. I'm like, every time I see a 6, I'm going to take a drink. I'm like, it has to have some significance. Someone who knows numerology or something. It's beyond the devil thing, because that's too easy. It has to be something else.
Yeah. A hot mess. That's all I can say.
I couldn't do it. A 1 is generous. I couldn't do it. I tried so hard, and I would pick up my iPad, and I'm like,
okay. Sorry, guys. Like I said,
famous Renee.
Oh my gosh!
You removed that,
and he came in under a girl's name, so he looked like he was just. So it's hard, yeah. And I'm like recognizing obviously the book club members that come in here, but Jesus, like the comments, like this is why I'm half paying attention to y'all, because I'm trying to like make sure that
I saw that you removed Danita too, huh?
Yeah. I was
okay,
like,
good.
really?
Yeah. I was hoping you saw that one.
I did. Jess is texting me. I'm trying to figure out how the hell to delete people because I've not had to do this before. I'm like, ugh. Anyways, okay, that was entertaining.
So I think that she should have just let that concept be a whole nother book. This book should have basically just been Winter getting out of jail and life from what happened after getting out of jail. It's like she was just trying to do too much and put in too many different concepts, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. Agreed. Portia's book was better than this one. Isn't that her name, Portia, the sister? Yeah. Her book was much better. This one,
finding out that Portia was married and had a husband, and I'm like, okay, it's been a while since I read her book, but where did that come from? Because I didn't see that coming either, and so that left some questions.
She got married to her book.
Okay.
In the book about her, she was it this guy that was after her for a long time, kind of really smart guy, I think, and they liked each other for a long time, I think, and they ended up getting married. The guy that kind of adopted her approved, I think, of her dating him.
Okay.
Really smart guy, I think, got into a whole lot of different colleges and ended up making a movie, I think. That was it, Keila? Okay.
I think so. I think that's where the whole producer aspect thing comes in.
Yeah.
From.
Yeah.
You know, I read stuff and forget it, but I think that's it. Yeah.
And he was the one that helped to deal with her. Remember, because he was helping her sing with her personalities or whatever too. Because I had to go back because I was confused too. And then to me, I was like, I think that was why towards the end when they were saying she didn't want to be on camera when she was singing, because I was like, oh, okay, was those the other personalities? Like, she didn't go into that, and I just was like, okay, let me go back and read. Didn't she have other personalities? And I had to go back and read.
Yep, I went back and hot mess.
Hot mess. Yeah, and then the ending when it's like, oh, you're alive after all of that. I was just like,
really?
Yes. Sorry, spoiler.
No, I like spoilers. I like spoilers. I mean, usually
Look,
I like a spoiler and I still go back and read it or watch it, but I have no interest in reading.
Yeah, that's because I had to rewind it a couple of times, like the last couple sentences. But yeah, it was like all of a sudden she found God. She's turning a new leaf. She now prays to God, but doesn't tell anybody. But this whole experience of thinking she's dead basically showed her that she needs to honor God. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And then, the last sentence says,
as long as he gets
in prison, she had to be almost dead first.
Yeah.
Well, she was still kind of the same person. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
You know, she still was kind of like the same person. Like, she was still thinking of herself better than everybody else and stuff like that. Even though even though she goes in there and she prays, God at the end, but she does it in private to where nobody else knows. But she was still kind of like the same person to everybody else. In everybody else's eyes, she was still the same person.
And it just confused me so much because it was like, how do you have cars and clothes and I don't know.
Yeah.
And she's still, the material, like, you're dead. Like, why does that?
Yeah. When
she was or she wasn't dead, I guess.
Right. Like when she was in that home or whatever, I don't even know what to call it, like the in-between or whatever. And she's like, I'm not wearing that. Like, I'm wearing my outfits and stuff. And
right.
Like, this is what you're concerned about.
That was the convent with the nuns.
Yes. Yes.
Hey,
the gas
can you hear me? It's Shoshana.
Got the gas.
We can hear you, Shoshana.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out my computer camera. I just bought a computer on Saturday and stuff is downloaded and not downloaded.
No problem.
In a minute, I'll be going in and out so you guys can see my face. But I totally love the book. I'm sorry because
I saw your post.
I know. I totally loved it for the simple fact that Sister Souljah just took us back to where she left off with the Coldest Winter Ever. And I think that her keeping Winter, the character of Winter and who she is and what she's about, I know it's ghetto, it's ratchet, it's Winter. And we loved her. Right. We loved her in Coldest Winter Ever, right? So if she was to bring her back as someone like totally different, I would have been a little disappointed. But I think she brought Winter back like, you know how you have that friend that you haven't spoken to in a while, in a long time, and then all of a sudden you speak to that friend and you guys just pick up where you left off, like you haven't spoken to her in years, but you still know what's going on in her life. I feel like that's exactly what Winter back, with the same drama, with the same conceit, with the same I'm the top bitch, I'm the bad bitch, I'm the this bitch, I'm the that bitch, and she dies. She was coming out of jail ready to do this reality show, right? being with her Prada boots and her Tom Ford and her mink and all this fancy stuff, and they shot her, right? And was she going to change because she was shot? No, it took some experiences, the experiences that she went through, for her to finally realize at the end what God is about. I think the running themes of the whole book was, for me, I don't know, you guys let me know how you feel, but I think the running themes for her was like forgiveness and mercy and spirituality. As we know Sister Souljah to be a very spiritual person. She's not a religious person, but she's a very spiritual person. So for her to tie that into this book, I thought was really nice, because she didn't do that with Coldest Winter Ever. You know, it was just straight.
Because I wanted to hear from somebody who actually loved the book.
Yeah,
I did. I really did. At that moment where her mother was a pinnacle moment in the book. The moment where her dad towards the end was a pinnacle moment in the book. Was he coming back to be a gangster? No, he wasn't coming back to be a gangster. But that's just like us who love old school rap and will never let old school rap die, or old school music die, or Marvin Gaye or Salt and Pepper. You know, we're jamming to this and we're jamming to that. It's just, I felt like she took us there. She kept us there because she wanted us to see how, no matter what you go through, trials and tribulations, Winter is still who she is, right? And I won't even get to the ending part because I don't even know where you guys are. I'm still trying to figure out my camera.
Oh, we finished. Go ahead. Spoil it.
Y'all finished? Oh, no.
I finished today.
You finished? Oh, I just feel like she picked up where she left off, but she put such a great spin to the realness of Winter being human, even though we didn't like it. It was some yucky parts in there, really some, you know, what in the world is Sister Souljah doing with Winter? But for her to, I liked how she turned her into different animals, because you got to see Winter in a vulnerable state. Honestly, it's so crazy. You got to see her in a vulnerable state when she was a rat and she was trapped in the snake, right? You got to see her in such a vulnerable state that she couldn't do anything. When she was a dog, when she turned into the dog, because her spirit was just moving around between purgatory and she was just dancing with the devil the whole time, right, guys? That succubus guy is the devil, right? And she slept with him. Her sons raped her, and her daughter and the devil's daughter had sex with her, if you think about it. So when you're dancing with the devil, right, was crazy, right?
And a whole hot mess. Yes.
Just crazy. And I felt like when you're dancing with the devils are going to meet the desires of your heart. And for her, the desires of her heart was sex, was that man, Bucacus or whatever his name is, you know, just like how she worshiped midnight. Everything she did for midnight in Coldest Winter Ever, right? And she turned around and came back to try to do that same behavior with who? Only the devil.
Yeah.
You know, and I found that very, very powerful for her to show you the difference when you're dancing with the devil and then God's send you mercy through the kids, the unborn kids. And that was pretty powerful too, because it touches on the lines of abortion, and we all have our opinions about abortion and who agrees with it and who doesn't agree with it. And why she did it that way, I think it was more so, I felt like when I was reading it, it was more so like mercy and forgiveness and showing, because they came to her and they told her, I will forgive you, you know, if you would just come with me up to heaven, right? And she still wanted to dance with the devil, do the dance that she know, you know, wear her Gucci boots and her Tom Ford. And that was Winter all the time, her long hair and her body and what's going to get her through, and her being the top bitch and the best bitch. And you know what I'm saying? I'm going to figure out my camera, guys, because I just feel so, you know, but I really enjoyed it. And towards the end was the pinnacle. I mean, literally, it tugged at my heartstrings, because only to find out she was in a coma, and the whole reality show was Portia taking care of her. Did you guys pick that up?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I did.
Whole reality show was Portia taking care of her. And that was just like, oh my God, wait a minute, what just happened here? What in the world just happened here? Is the reality show, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I interpreted it wrong, but I took it as the entire reality show was Portia taking care of her while she dancing, while she's trying to figure out whether she's going to go to heaven or dance with the devil. And for her only to wake up again was God's mercy all over again for her. To me, I don't know. Let me try and figure out my camera, guys, while y'all tell me if I'm right or wrong. I know it was crazy.
No, that was a great interpretation.
You're
Go ahead,
right.
Jess.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. I appreciate your insight on it. I just, and your perspective, I just feel like there were so many things that she could have said, done all of that without some of that craziness.
Yeah, like
it was, yes.
Yeah.
the animals were a little bit much.
The
Yes.
animals, the
That's what lost me.
bestiality, like
Yeah.
the dog,
Yeah.
like that was, I was just like,
Yeah.
I can't. And even the unborn souls, I actually I felt that part. I was like, okay, this is real.
Yes.
You know, that was a hitting point, but it was just still kind of like too.
I feel like that whole being in the afterlife kind of thing, it could have been shortened. Like I would have liked to have seen her go through that, but then realize that she's still alive and then see how she lives.
Yes.
Based on that. Like I feel like even though I don't want another book, there could be a whole book that actually shows us how she's changed from that perspective. I don't want it and I'm not reading it, but it definitely won't be a book club pick, but I just feel like that could have been shortened, you know? And
I agree. I think the lesson part of it could have been a bigger part of the book than all just this wild. I mean, but I get it. At the same time, I feel like, well, maybe that was, like I was saying earlier, maybe that was how she wanted you to feel, so that you could feel how weird and crazy and bad it would feel to be in the last stop before the drop. I love that.
Yes.
Totally. But and I thought about Lil Nas X's video and all of that while I was reading this book.
Yes, totally.
But I felt like some of it was it just went way too long and too much. Get to the point of it, of the lesson that it is that you want me to learn, without taking me through all of the rest of the stuff. Right. Like the bestiality part, I was just like, oh gosh. I went, oh, okay. And I almost put the book down. I was like, no, let me keep reading. But it was a lot. Yeah. But I understand your perspective, Shoshana, and it makes me feel somewhat, I maybe give it a 2 based on your
That's why, yeah. And the ending, because of how it ended, that's why I like bumped it up a little bit. But I'm like, yeah, I could have done without the entire middle, pretty much. It was a lot.
Can I just say that? So, hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm clearly new. Hi.
No, welcome.
I didn't get past chapter 4. I'm gonna still keep going because I have to, like, this is like for the culture. I have to like push through for us.
Yeah.
But I am so glad to know that it ended with her not being dead, because I felt like this was a terrible way to like depict what it looks like to be, or like what you think in being dead, or like the like representation of like this ghost like person. I was like, that sounds really whack. Like that sounds like this heating sensation and all that. I was like, I really hope she's not dead, because this is annoying. So I'm so glad to know that she's actually alive. And I just felt like that was not written well. I love that she is still her character. Like she's still Winter. She's still all about herself. Like that's never gonna change. And I think she did a good job of like keeping Winter the same, even though she spent years in jail. So maybe she should have changed a little. But that whole like death like perspective, or like ghost like perspective, I was like, I don't think if like ghosts are like around us, which I think they probably are, I don't think they live like this. Like this is a terrible representation of what ghosts are probably thinking and feeling if they do that kind of thing. So
I think the way the book ended should have been how it started. It should have started how it ended. Yeah. And then we could have backtracked to her whole life after death. And then they could have thrown in how things happened when she met her dad and when she met back up with the girls, because obviously I don't know if this was just my perception from reading it, because she was in her afterlife, she knew who shot her, but nobody else knows who shot her.
Right.
So it would have been kind of nice to see how she encountered that once she saw that girl again face to face, so I wish it would have started the way it ended and then went that way.
And they said that she got shot and who, but they didn't really tell how it went down, right? Or did I miss that?
Nope, they didn't tell how it went down.
Okay. See, like that would have been interesting to me. Like, okay, you're out of jail. Were you in the club? Like, how did this go down?
Right.
How did you get shot? They could have put her in the hospital, and then with that, she went into this afterlife. And then come to find out, it's just, there's so many different ways I think she could have gone about this to make it interesting, or more interesting, I guess. But yeah, it was a fail for me.
So on the religion side of it, I'm a Catholic. I'm not practicing Catholic, but I was raised as a Catholic. I was kind of offended about the convent of the nuns, because they believe in the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, they believe in the Trinity, that they were sitting in the middle and they weren't in heaven or completely in hell. I was kind of offended by that. Like, really? Just because they believe in the three, because they do believe in one God, but they, you also have Jesus and all that stuff. I was like, why are they sitting there at the last stop? For what reason? I was a little offended by that, but then again, I made an assumption that Sister Souljah was Muslim and believed in Allah. So Allah, they only believe in one God. So I kind of understood where she was going with that, just because if she is that religion and believes in that, then I can understand why she put that in there. But I was a little offended by that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
For me, reading the Midnight series, religious undertones are all throughout the book, and so you see and experience that a lot. So I definitely never saw the religion side being pulled into this particular book, but I guess when you think about if you know people who've been to prison, and oftentimes, religion is something that they have a tendency to discover in jail, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess that kind of makes sense. Looking at it from that context, but it still caught me off guard, very much so.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have had more of an update of Midnight and what he was doing, especially since he had her sisters, the twins. It would have been more. And I would just, some of the older characters to see more of them. I mean, we got glimpses of Portia and stuff like that, but it's like, I wanted to know more about their story and what they were doing.
Yeah, I didn't understand about when she saw Midnight. Like, they said that she went to visit people while she, before she got put there. So she went to see Midnight, but Midnight was in this mansion with these different wives.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what that was all about, but she went and saw her dad in jail. So I was like, okay, I get that. But I didn't understand Midnight with all these wives and all these people living in this, basically like a compound. I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah. It was trippy for me.
And I read the Midnight series, which it was kind of, after a while, that one itself was hard to finish. And I still kind of felt like the way she wrote Midnight, when you're finished reading it, you still are like, okay, so how did a man like Midnight get involved with a man like Santiago? Like, how did their two worlds cross? Because in the Midnight books, the way I read it, he was this just honorable Muslim man. And it's like, okay, so he was this, how did his past cross with this big time drug dealer? And I don't know, it's just so many gaps that you want to see connected. But after reading that book, I kind of felt that her last book was going to be heavily with the Muslim religion, because it was so heavy in her last book that I could tell that was a path she was taking. And I think it was around chapter 10. That's when the book started getting a little, like, I couldn't put it down for a couple of chapters. And I think that was when we discovered what the UBS actually stood for, and them trying to talk to their parents to give me your forgiveness. And I think what was interesting to me was that she kept saying, I didn't have no kids. And it was like, really? And it just really showed how selfish she really was, because she totally forgot that she had kids that she got rid of. And it just showed her lack of compassion at times. And then I think at the end, when she had to stand in that booth and they were pointing out how many actual sexual affairs she had, and it showed what she actually worshiped, where she thought she was as bad because of who she was. I'm in a public place, that's why I didn't say it, but because of who she was and who her dad was. But in actuality, she was lowering herself by constantly opening up her legs to all these different men, that she really wasn't as bad as she thought she was.
Yeah. So many questions. Someone had posted, go ahead.
On how he met Souljah in The Coldest Winter Ever. I think that's the one. I reread it, or maybe it's in Portia's book. It's in one of them where he talked about how his dad was killed. Benita's nodding, and I can't remember exactly, but it's something about how they tried to be upstanding citizens and how they couldn't be. I guess his dad was killed, and then something happened to him. He went to prison.
His sister got raped. His sister got raped, and he killed the man that did it.
That's what it was.
Either she got raped or she was about to get raped, and he killed that man that was about to rape his sister, and that's why he got put in jail at like 13 or 14. He was young.
Right.
He got put in jail.
Jail too. But he was raped in jail.
Midnight.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then I thought so. I couldn't remember for sure.
And I think when he came out of jail, he couldn't find work. And so forced him to go to Santiago.
Yeah, that was it.
Which there's still a lot of gaps there.
Yeah.
There are, yeah.
I know someone had posted an interview, not with Sister Souljah, not with the Breakfast Club, but there was a second one that someone posted. Did any of y'all watch that interview? I think Jess, and she's on a phone call right now, but I think they were going in depth about how she wrote this book and so many unanswered questions and things like that. I need to go back and find that link, because I know Jess sent it to me somewhere, but that may answer a lot of our questions that we have. I'm trying to find it right now so I can, but yeah.
Is anybody worried about what it's look like after seeing this book? Do you think she'll hold true to the actual first novel, or will she take a lot of detours?
Did she what? Did she hold true to?
Will she hold true? Because I think someone had mentioned earlier that she was in the process of writing a script for the Coldest Winter Ever.
For the movie.
And so my concern would be, we're expecting to get something based off the book, but this book obviously did not fall within a lot of people's expectations. So with the movie, will she actually hold true to the first book, or will she take some creative liberties?
I hope not. And stick that after this, and after she sees all the ratings and things that she's gotten from this, I would hope that if she does a movie, that she sticks to what we loved about this book. Yeah, I don't think she wants to upset us again. I would hope not, at least.
I hope she sticks to the script. Honestly, I saw a lot of truth in Winter. Winter was very genuine, even though we didn't like her behavior. Winter was genuine. She was real, and there are people out there that is that Winter character, especially when you're hustling, especially when you're the ride or die. Her mentality is just so far-fetched, but it's so genuine on her part. Now, if she turns it into a movie, she got to tone her down a little bit. She can't have her having sex with finger, whatever she was doing, and her vagina pumping, and all that stuff. She was explicitly describing, but I really like that it takes us to a conversation like this to have, like, because it reminds me of when rap music first came out and people didn't like rap music because of the cuss words in it. And ironically, if you listen to rap music and the culture of hip hop and the culture of rap music, it's tied into poetry, it's tied into life, and it's a language that is expressed on a genuine level. So when I read Sister Souljah, I feel that way. I feel that connection with her, that hip hop connection, that spiritual connection with her. Who was the young lady that said she did, you know, she with the convent, you know, I get that because, yeah, I get that because that's religious. And when you're tapping into a religion rather than just staying on the spirituality level, meaning like you can not be religious, but you could have your spirituality embedded within you. You know, you can believe in God, and however you want to believe in God, that's the way you believe in God. But when you're taking it to the convent, now you're getting on a religious type of Catholic notion, and you're going to really have to delve deep into that type of religion to bring it forth correctly. So I'm really hoping that she sticks to the script, because it's to me, I compare it to rap music and hip hop music, that as much as we don't like it, it speaks volumes and it brings forth conversations like this. You know, don't get distracted by her behavior. You know, there's meaning behind all that behavior that she displayed in this book, that she displayed in Coldest Winter Ever. In Coldest Winter Ever, I thought she was worse than what she is in this book, you know, and we were excited about it. We laughed about it. We talked about it. We were so excited for winter and midnight and the stuff that they were doing. I'll never forget that book. That book is crazy. And here we are in 2021 on that same level with winter, because she spent 15 years in jail. You're in jail, you're going to come out the same person that you went in, because you don't know what has changed. And unfortunately, she got shot, and her spirit went into a world where God kept checking her, bringing her children to the forefront in regards to forgiveness. And when she finally got to heaven, right? She listened to her son, finally got to heaven. She wanted to bypass all the steps, right? Here we go, Winter, come on now. She wanted to bypass all the steps. She's like, how do I get to the top? How do I get to the front? What do I need to say? What do I need to do? And that's when God really challenged her and put her in front of her, you know, and I found that to be very powerful and very spiritual, very powerful, because God will send us signs from here to kingdom come, and it's not until something real serious shakes us up, right? Before we say, oh, I get it now, you know, but the way she brought it forth was a distraction to the reading. I get it. I hear you. I really hear you. The way she was just raw with it was truly a distraction. And she ended wanting to still be the top bitch, right?
Yeah, that's it.
She's still talking about she wanted to be the top bitch, and you know, but then at the same time, I think she got the message. I really do, but I don't know. I don't know.
How many of you did the audiobook, just out of curiosity, with Nia Long? Okay, same here. So
Nia Long did the audio?
She did, and I actually I really enjoyed her actually narrating the book for me. It was different. I don't know that I was expecting. I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess when I look at Nia Long, I don't see like a winter coming out of her. That's just me personally. I don't see that. I always think of Nia Long as being like one of our good girls, you know, that the sweetheart in movies for the most part. So it was an interesting to hear her narrate. She did a great job narrating it. I think that was really one of the things that kept me plugged in, was her narration of it. I felt like she did a great job. I just wasn't sure what to expect with her because, you know, I think of like, you know, Love Jones, Nia, and you know, it's just different,
Right.
you know,
Right.
you don't see this like hood character coming at, you know. So it was different, but I really enjoyed the narration from her. That was really what helped me get through this book.
You didn't think it was too slow? It just seemed like she was so like I don't even know if that's her normal reading. It just seemed like she was reading really slow. Like I was like, oh my gosh. And then when I was reading reviews, somebody said I had to speed it up. I said, oh,
well,
I didn't even think about speeding it up. And I sped it up and I was like, okay, now I can listen to this.
And that I was gonna say I can't really even answer that because from the beginning, most of the time when I'm listening to a book, I'm on 1.5. And then today I was like, or even last night, I turned it up to 1.8. So it was like going. So for me, it wasn't read slow because I always just have it on super speeder reading levels. So
try to listen it at a regular level, just the one, and listen and to see how slow it was. I was just like, and I never thought about speeding it up. And when I was telling my daughter, she was like, oh yeah, Mom, you can speed it up. I was like, I didn't even think, I don't ever think about that because I just listen to books regularly like that, just the regular level. But oh yeah, when I put it to 1.6, I was good to go. I said, oh, I can listen to this now. Okay, come on.
It like takes a second for you to catch on. It seems like it's just going real fast, but then after about a minute or so, it's like it's completely normal. Like I'll listen to it in the car like that, and my son will be like, "How are you listening to it that fast?" Because to him, it's just like, and I'm like, I can hear it. It just works for me that way. I don't think I would have been able to get through 15 hours of an audiobook without speeding it up because that would have just been painful.
Sorry, guys, I was in and out. What did I miss? Why didn't y'all like the book? Was it her behavior a distraction? Y'all were saying? I'm sorry, my computer was driving me a little crazy.
No, you're fine. I think for me, definitely it was like the animals and just like
the animals. Oh, okay.
Outside of that, I think everything else was okay for me.
Okay.
And I think some of us mentioned like just that middle part in the afterlife could have been so much shorter. Like we would have loved to know how she got shot, maybe even her just being in the hospital and then going into this afterlife, like it's a dream while she's in the hospital. But I think I would have loved to learn more. Okay, you got out of jail. How did you get shot? We know who shot you, but how did it actually go down and happen? Right. And then maybe putting her in the hospital and then going into the afterlife for a little bit. And then a lot of us were okay with how the book ended with her being alive and kind of being this saved person, but we actually want to know more about her life being saved. Like, okay, how is she acting in the real world as this newfound saved person that believes in God? So I think there are some things that could have been tweaked, and this whole afterlife thing was just a little too long for me. Like it should have been more, for me, a dream, and then she changed, and then we kind of follow her life into what she becomes.
What did y'all think about the whole worshiping thing? The whole concept of her worshiping, like her behavior, how she loved. Her son defined it as worshiping, because how she loved hard, right? She loved midnight. She did anything for midnight. And then here we are with the devil. So I can't say this man's name, Sabiscus or however you the way she loved, it was almost like a worship. That's why her daughter had to step away from her, because her daughter her daughter never came back, because her daughter had to step away from her, because it got to the point where her daughter started to adapt the behaviors of Winter, because Winter worshiped, according to the way she loved, Winter worshiped her father, right? She has so much love for her father. She did anything for her father. She loved her. It seemed like she loved her father more than she loved God, right? According to her daughter. And her daughter started to adapt those ways. And that's why she had to leave her and go and ask for new parents and all this other stuff that the daughter said she forgives her, but she cannot worship her mother more than God, right? So what did you think about how they tied in worshiping human beings, what we do for people on that type of love level, and comparing it to the love that we have for God. I
Yeah,
thought that was pretty powerful.
It was, because we've seen that from the Coldest Winter Ever as well. Like, most of what she did was to hold up her father's name and keep his name going in this empire that he built. So yeah, I definitely, yeah, that was what she was about.
Right. And the lesson behind her son, like her son was like treating her like a kid. You either you take the red juice or the blue juice. You know, this is what you don't do in order for you to cross over. This is what you do in order for you to cross over. You know, and it made her, in my head, think that, you know, she had some serious choices to make, because even at the end, she ended up with no one, because she was dancing with the devil but her sister and the people who really loved her and took care of her. And she was even saying that, well, hopefully when she meets her newfound person, they will bow down and pray with her to talk to God. I mean, how it ended was so beautiful to me too. With her on the radio. How old school is that, right?
Yes. Doing her interview.
Where they did interviews on the radio, right? How old school was that? That was so cool. And she ended it with, you know, hopefully the next man I find will get on his knees and talk to God with me, right?
Yeah, it was like she kind of gained a little self-respect for herself finally. Like, it was like, this is what I deserve. This is what I'm going to get. This is, yeah, you could see that she matured in a way, which I guess for me, after her being in jail for 15 years, I expected her to kind of step out of jail that way, but she still had many lessons to learn to get to that point. So I think there was just a different expectation. It's like, does anybody even know how old Winter was when she got out of jail? What her age was? I can't recall, because she had to have been like a teen, right? Or in her young 20s when she went into jail, right?
No, she was still 17, wasn't she?
When she a teen
when she went into jail.
When she went in, yeah.
No.
Yeah, 17 or 18.
In the book,
she was definitely in her 30s.
Right.
I remember her and paging her on her birthday to take her to the beach in the coldest winter ever. So if she was in 15 years, she would have been a little over 30, right?
Right. Yep. And I'm so sorry, guys. Have y'all read American Marriage?
Yes, it's one of my favorites.
It's one of my favorites.
Yes, same.
Because remember when the husband went in to jail in American Marriage, and they were writing each other the letters in and out of jail, and
Roy,
and he came out of jail wanting to pick up where they left off. You remember that in American Marriage? And she done moved on. How far she done made her doll. She became a celebrity. She became this famous person. But he was still stuck where he left off with her, right? And it's the same thing with Winter. When she came out of jail, she was stuck right where she left off, ready to go back into hustling, ready to be the top bitch, ready to do all this stuff she was saying because she got her money and she put on her Gucci and her stuff, you know. It just reminded me of American Marriage when her husband went in and came out and wanted to pick up from where they left off. And she was how many years ahead of him?
Yeah. She had a whole new life.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I think we read that one as a book club pick. Like,
yep,
that was
I remember
our first year or whatever. We read that one. Yeah.
And then the old school, see, here I go with comparing all these books I'm in here reading. And the old school part of it, did y'all read Deacon King Kong?
I did not, but I've heard it's great.
Oh, you got to read Deacon King Kong. That book, you are going to crack up laughing with Deacon King Kong. Deacon King Kong is so old school, hustling, but it's a beautiful story. It's such a beautiful story. But you got to read Deacon King Kong because it is funny. I don't want to give the spoiler, but there's no snitching going on. The community understands the language that there's no snitching. And it's just such a beautiful story, but it's like old school gangster.
Okay. I'll have to add that to my summer reading list. It's like, I can never catch up on what I need to read. But I've had it since before it came out, but yeah, I'll add it to my summer reading list.
Yeah.
trying to scale back on reading so many books because I just don't have time these days. I'm a busy bee. But yeah, yeah, I was reading some of the reviews on Goodreads for this one today.
Don't read the reviews.
I mean, a lot of
literally just read the reviews. I was like, why is everybody hating on this book? Let me see what's going on Goodreads. And then when I saw Goodreads, I was like, oh.
Shauna, I'm glad to hear from you because
same.
I didn't get past chapter 4. I've been on chapter 4 for weeks. That's why
the audiobook.
Before I started cheering, I've been on chapter 4 for weeks. I can't get past it. And I was like waiting for tonight because I said I need to hear from somebody who actually enjoyed reading this book.
I did.
Yeah, you definitely need to go to review up, Shoshana. You gotta represent for the people who like books. I've seen 1 or 2. So.
Yeah, it's got a 2.5 star rating. 752 ratings.
Shoshana's face.
Yeah, a 2.5. Let's see.
But I think The Coldest Winter Ever was worse.
Oh my God, I love it. I've read that like
I love that book, especially rereading it. I had a greater appreciation.
Don't put that in your review, Shoshana.
Look, right. I loved it.
I love Coldest Winter Ever, but it was worse than this.
No, but I think I love the rawness of it. That to me was what made it exciting, was the rawness of it and her kind of I don't care attitude and just doing whatever she wanted. But this one just took me just to a whole different realm. Like I felt like, is this Twilight? Like, what am I reading right now?
What am I reading?
Yes, and that's what I question. I think I just still can't get by the animals. For me, that's just like
really.
Yeah.
So did you guys say she was with a succubus?
Yes, that was her ride or die. She was ready to ride or die for him, right? And I was like, here we go, Winter.
Was succubus? That was his name?
Yes. And it was
because a succubus is a female demon.
No, that was his girlfriend.
No, succubus was his girlfriend.
That was his sister.
That was his sister.
It's a female demon, and an incubus is a male demon.
Yeah.
Or male demon in a male body.
Yes.
Yeah. His name was Lucifer 66.
Right. Lucifer 66. She had sex with Lucifer 60. That was her ride or die. Then she had and then succubus was Lucifer's sister. She had sex with her. She had sex, and then Lucifer's brothers raped her. So she had sex with the whole family.
Yeah. It was a hot damn mess.
In this book, this happened in this book.
Yes.
Yes. Look at Jessica's face.
If you read it to chapter 20, all of that happens. That's as far as I got, and all of that has happened.
Yes. It was so sad. I was like, damn.
And I think a lot of the reviews and a lot of people are hurt and upset by this is because this has been 20 years in the waiting. A lot of people grew up with this book. I wasn't one of those people. I think I read it for the first time 2 or 3 years ago, just because I wasn't a reader growing up. But a lot of people read this as a teen. It was like a big part of their childhood and being a young adult. So I think people are like, oh, we waited 20 years for this. Like she's about to bring it. We're about to get some closure here. Like, and I feel like it upset a lot of people because they didn't get what they were expecting out of it.
What were your expectations? What did you guys want to see happen?
Either a very changed Winter for me.
You wanted Winter to go to college and
something. And maybe be like put a fashion business together like she was going to, because like even just the storyline, how it started of her being a movie star and all the like this famed. I think that would have even been great. And her dad could have gone down in history as one of the biggest gangsters out there, So I think there was a lot that could have come from it. It could have been Winter still trying to hustle and continue to, or take back the name from her family, because we knew that she was kind of losing that, as her dad went to jail, they were kind of losing their name and their empire. So it could have been a whole nother storyline to see them fight for her to come back and be back on top. So I don't know. I guess there's different ways that it could have went. I just wasn't expecting this like I mean, I guess the title is Life After Death, but for me, the death could have been being in jail for that long, and then she gets out and there's this whole new life that she produces from that. So I don't know. It just, yeah. I think a lot of people are disappointed that they've been waiting 20 years for this.
Yeah, I definitely grew up with this book. I feel like it was my intro to like reading books out of school books. And I really wanted either redemption or revenge in this story.
Yep.
And I felt like either the two of those would have been fine. I would have been really hyped for it. And again, I'm stuck at 4. I'm with you. I'm stuck at 4. And I just feel like, what are we getting? Because I don't feel like it's about to give us that. So
yeah, I feel like Bullet got away scot-free. What happened to him? I would have left to him more. What happened to him?
That's
he just left her hanging high and dry. Yeah, go get him.
Yeah. And Simone, you remember the girl that cut her in her face?
Yes.
Simone, and she saw Simone at the end. Simone came, and I think she saw Simone at the end, and she's like, she knew that she like in a certain way she kind of matured on that level because she knew something about Simone, how she knew that Simone set her up from Coldest Winter Ever at the end, and how she landed in jail, how they planted the drugs in, Simone and Bullet planted the drugs in, how she landed in jail. And Simone still came to the show at the end, and she was like, you know, I know the story behind her, the girl who cut me in my face. You know, you got to read the. Oh wow,
girl, stop! Bullet planted the drugs with Simone.
Right, look,
girl. See, I told you not to read this old gangster book.
Hold on, I missed that part.
Me too. I'm like, what?
The drugs and walked away. I didn't know he planted it.
In the car. Yes, and the cops came.
Teddy bear.
But it was, I don't think it was planted there by Simone and him. He had the drugs. Everything was in her name, and he had the drugs.
Yeah.
He had the car, but Simone had nothing to do with that.
Remember, he rented the car, and the car was in her name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember,
everything was in her name.
Everything was in her name. Right. And they got out the car when they saw the police, and she was somewhere. She went back in the car, and the police arrested her because everything was already registered with her. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
He kept walking. He kept walking by.
Yeah. They didn't turn around and help her, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Left her high and dry. Yeah. Jess did make a comment that I didn't read. She said someone in another group said that the best thing about this book was that she supported a Black woman by buying it. Ain't that the truth? I feel like she just got rich off of everybody buying this book off the hype.
Really?
Only to be disappointed. Yeah. I mean, I can't. You're one of the rare, I think there was maybe 2 people in the entire group, you and someone else, that actually liked the book. Everybody else was like,
Renee, I was scared to post it. I was so
don't be scared.
This book. I was like, ooh, what was going on?
I think, like, for me, I didn't hate it, but it was just off the wall for me. Like, it was, you know, it got better. The ending made it better for me, I think, which is why I bumped it up for 2 stars. But I was dreading it definitely because of all of the reviews I had seen. Yeah, it just wasn't what I expected. I feel like I still feel empty after reading it. I feel like it didn't fill that void for me. I still feel empty.
Wow.
Has anyone seen a talk that Sister Souljah has done about the book? Like any of the books?
That's what Jess posted a podcast, the other Jess, sent it to me. I'll post it in the group. Apparently that's one that kind of digs more into it. So I need to go watch that now to see. I should have watched it beforehand, but I hadn't even finished the book yet at that point. But I'm going to post that to the group because I think that one may go in depth about the book and why she wrote it the way she did. Because for me, like the initial Breakfast Club that I watched when the day the book came out, like to me, that was just surface. Like nobody had really read it yet. So it's just kind of like, oh, you wrote a book after 20 years. How exciting. But I think this podcast goes into depth about like the actual book and what, so I'll make sure and post that. So that
has she said anything about the reviews? Does anybody know what she?
I don't know. I'm wondering. I know Jess is on an important phone call, but I guarantee that might be discussed in this podcast because I think it goes in depth about people's feelings. I'm hoping. I didn't mean to play that, but I'm gonna post the link to our Facebook page so that you guys can. Yeah. It sounds like, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that podcast.
The song, yeah.
Yeah, it's an hour and 18-minute interview that she has with Sister Souljah. So I'm going to post, she interviews Sister Souljah about her new best-selling book, Life After Death, and gets answers to the 22-year-old questions of when we're getting a film about the coldest winter ever. So I don't know. I'll post it in there. I'm hoping maybe it gives us answers to this book. Who knows? Interesting to say the least. I'm glad, Shoshana, that we had someone on here that enjoyed it, though, because I feel like you gave us a different insight to this book that was really helpful. So I can definitely see, your thoughts, and I appreciate them a lot. So I'm really appreciative that you were on here tonight to kind of give us a different perspective. Honestly, I feel like it's the animals.
Having me. It's the animals that are a distraction.
Yeah, I feel like if those weren't in there, I could have dealt with it a little more. It was like I checked out. Yeah,
I didn't get to the animals. I just
it's like I ain't got no excuses for it.
Interested. Yeah. I would rather read my real estate textbook than that. Wow. I was like, oh my God, at least if I read real estate stuff, I'm learning something. This was for me. And that's why I said, I so appreciate your perspective on it, because I was like, I've got to hear from somebody that actually enjoyed reading it, because I'm struggling.
You know what, guys? There's so much reading, so many great authors out, and when we're reading all these amazing books, I can't keep up with the new, with the old. My TBR list is like this big, you know, so I'm coming to y'all with book that y'all did 2 years ago or something. But every book, I know for me, when I pick up a book, I have to let go of my expectations of the author.
Yeah.
And just take the book in for what it is.
And I think with this one, with so many people having read it and having such strong opinions about how much they disliked it, like I kind of already had that in my head walking into it. So I think for a lot of people, that's how they're going to walk into it, because there's so many people that have read it and dislike it that it's going to be hard.
Yeah. And that's one thing I know for myself I don't do. I don't read reviews about a book. I just pick the book and I keep it going and I read it. And if I don't like the book, I pass it on, not in a bad way that I don't like. I've never came across a book that I hate. I can't even say I hate a book, because this is someone's talent. This is someone's writing. This is an author, I'm still trying to get into, what's her name? Acevedo. I'm going to get to it. Yeah, I'm still trying to get into her, but I'm going to read it. So I can speak to it as to why it's so hard for me to get into her.
Are you doing the Poet X? Is that what you're reading, or something else?
No, Clap When You Land.
Okay, I haven't read that one yet, but the Poet X, for her, audio is truly the best way to take her in, because it's poetic.
I was about to say
poetic.
That.
So the way that she reads, the way that she reads the Poet X is so poetic. Like, it's just. And that's I think the only book that I've read from her. I haven't read her others, but that one right there, yes, she reads it, and her accent, and it's read like a poem, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I think for you to really get the full feeling of that book, the audio is probably the best way for you to digest that.
Right. And with this,
I've read all of her books, and I listened to most of them, because she writes in verse. And it's hard for me to read a novel that's in verse, because I just get thrown off by that format. So I always listen to her books.
Okay. And Jasmine Ward, I love her. I can read her from here to Kingdom Come. I can read Jasmine Ward all day long. I can read Jasmine Ward.
Yes. But she is an acquired taste. Everyone doesn't get her.
Right.
It breaks my heart when I think of Jasmine now. She's had such a difficult year. I just, if y'all don't know, her husband was killed, or not killed, but I think he passed away. Yeah. last year,
COVID.
early in the beginning of the pandemic. So
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Well, it was like December 2019.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that
they
he passed?
thought it was
Yeah.
you know, my mentee is his first cousin.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then I think she didn't post about it until maybe
She didn't
like
post
a month
about it for
after.
a long time. But
Yeah.
but Ebony let me know, and it was
Yeah.
it was the flu, and then he
Oh,
ended up in the hospital.
Hmm.
But it was like December 2019, so it makes you think.
Yeah, it could have been, right? We just didn't really know what it was. And so
She did a piece for Vanity Fair in the one that what's his name? Ta-Nehisi Coates edited.
Yeah.
And it is just, it's beautiful and heartbreaking. But yes, she believes it was COVID.
What's her last name?
Jasmine Ward. Ward is her last name. Yeah.
Jesmyn.
I can't even think of the book club read that. Why Sing Buried Sing was, I think,
Sing
the book club.
Unburied
A lot
Sing.
of people didn't like that
Unburied
book.
Sing.
It was,
I
yeah.
love that book. Oh, I love that book. And Salvage the Bones. Oh my God.
Oh no, you know, Men We Reap though, that is my number one from her.
Really?
Like that one.
I have to read that one. I haven't read that one yet.
It's I guess you can call it a memoir, but it basically follows five important men in her life and how they were all killed. Oh, that's a cute picture. I love it, Jess.
Jess always got the pictures.
Right. She be knowing.
I stalked her. It was at
I'm so jealous.
It was in the convention center. And she wasn't like a feature or anything. She was just there like a regular person. She was eating some ribs. And I was like,
Jasmine Ward.
Because my mentee calls her Mimi. They know her as Mimi.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's Mimi. And so I just sat there and I couldn't even eat my food. I just waited till she finished eating. Then I walked over. I said, I know you're here incognito, but I know who you are. And she was like, I am. I was like, but you can't hide from me. I have to come over here and say hello to you.
I love her. She's so sweet. She was
very gracious. She was very gracious about it. Yeah, I really did. I was like, I know she's here as a private person right now, but I'm a stan. I can't not come over here and say hello. And can I take a picture with you?
That's awesome.
I love her. She's very sweet. From the interactions I've had with her on social media and stuff, she's very appreciative of the support that she gets from us. So yeah. Well, I thank y'all for this discussion. It's definitely been a good one. I appreciate that. A couple of things before we sign off. I don't know if y'all have
haven't gotten it yet.
Okay, grab your copy. I am actually going live on Instagram with Jasmine Mans on the 21st of this month at 7 p.m. So, yeah, someone posted her poem, which is in here, about Kanye. Man, when I tell you, she goes.
I told you to turn to page 70. That's the poem I was talking about.
Coco Chasing Adventures actually sent me the video of her about this Kanye poem that she has, and I'm just like, whoa, she is not holding back. She goes in on him. So I'll be doing a one-on-one interview with her.
It's a great book.
Yeah, the cover is beautiful too.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
So this will be my next read.
Oh,
FYI,
that's the poetry book?
FYI, just what'd you say?
That's the poetry book, right?
Yes. So I'll be starting that tomorrow.
I gotta go get my book.
I know, because I've got to submit. I got to start reading it now because I got to submit questions, I think, by the 14th. So I've got 7 days to get this done.
I just got this one. I haven't even read it yet.
I have that one too. Yeah. There's so many books so little time. I literally have stacks in the corner right now. And
oh my God.
I need to give away books. And then, of course, our April book of the month.
I need to get that one.
Can I tell y'all how amazing, just how they're promoting this book? Okay, so they first sent this. It came with a record, a real record.
What?
That has old school music. I played it when it came in. I got this book, the record. It came with a couple more things in there, and then the women, the sisters who do the Black Girl Magic wine, chose this as their book club.
Yeah, I saw that
month feature. So they sent me a book again, and 2 bottles of Black Girl Magic wine, and I was just like, yeah, it's
oh wow.
The money that they've put to promote this, and I had already heard a couple of Kiese Layman. I think a couple of people have already, maybe Jason Reynolds, they had raved about this. So that was kind of,
we trust.
yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer to me to go ahead and make this a book club selection. I literally switched, I think, a couple of days before I was about to announce a book that it was going to be this, because I've heard so many great things. But yeah, so those are a couple of books to keep on your radar for chats coming up. And Donnie Walton will be on with us next month when we do the chat for the final revival of Opal and Nev.
I may have to be in the corner with my AirPods in because I have another event that.
Yeah, and just FYI, that one is the second week in May because she already had some obligations the first week of May. So our book club chat is actually a week later than we typically do it. So it's the second Wednesday of the month in May. Because scheduling conflicts, but I was like, hey, I got to work around her. She's gonna be here for us, then we got to do what we got to do. So yeah, Jess, you might have to figure out a way to get you in there.
I'll just be in the back with my headphones on.
Yeah, that's it. So some exciting things coming up for us. Other than that, yeah. Thanks y'all for joining, and sorry about all the spam that came in here. Clearly not posting to Twitter anymore.
Did I miss them? Because I had to step away from it.
It was just that one, the guy, and I actually deleted a couple of people, and they could have been legit people, but because they were unmuted and they weren't really saying anything in the names, I deleted them. I was like, Kia, thanks for speaking up and telling us that you're a real person. So I didn't delete you, but yeah, welcome to the group. That typically never happens.
Kia.
Normally,
Thank you for that, Kia, by the way. Yeah. That encouraged me to come on camera. I was like, oh, let me get my life together.
Look,
like, you're right.
Because normally I just post the number ID and then the password, at least so they can't. But this time I actually posted the link. So when I came in here, there was like 30 people in the weight room, and a lot of them were men. And I was like, what? Like, what is this? So I was deleting most of them. But even that one guy that popped up, his name was Rebecca. So it was like,
oh no.
Yeah, they're coming in here as different names. So I was like,
how much time do you have in your life that this is what you do? Come on.
Right. You're literally searching Zoom on Twitter so that you can crash people's Zooms with music and dancing. Yeah.
I got other stuff to do.
Clearly, I'm like, I ain't got the time, man.
And I'm on enough Zooms a day not to want to crash one that I don't need to be on.
Seriously, it was, yeah. So that's why the first half of this chat I was like on edge because I'm like looking at names, waiting for people, and then the invites still kept coming in. Even someone tried to join by iPad, and I was like, I can't even, like, you don't have a picture or a name. I can't do it. I can't do it. So next lesson learned. Next time we'll just not post to Twitter. Just keep it within the group and on Instagram.
It wasn't too bad. You got them out quickly. It wasn't bad. I've seen one for NAGA, National African American Gun Association.
Oh gosh.
And just by title alone that attracts people, and it was horrible.
Wow.
They had to basically end the meeting and start over again and go to YouTube. It was horrible.
Well, I don't know who else is a Pelotoner on here, but I've noticed I get some weird high fives sometimes, and I'm like, I'm not high fiving you. You're high fiving me because I have
that's Zeus. That's
because I have a Black Girl Magic leaderboard.
Oh,
tag.
I got rid of that hashtag, like the actual one that spells out Black Girl Magic, because there's literally
I have the BGM one, but I think they know what it is, and I'll get
it's less obvious, but there is a white guy who goes in there, seeks out the BGM hashtag, and goes into rides with Black instructors, and will literally, I think, what is his username? It's something with Trump in it. It's what?
I thought you were talking about Crank Daddy was one who was like
that was one. I think he just likes Black women, but there's a guy who's actually like a Trump supporter, and it like his hashtag is like Trump 2020, and he goes in there and just high fives, like trolls all the Black people in there, and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
There was one that high fived me one day, and his hashtag was like mask for dummies or something. I was like, I'm not high fiving you back. I know what this is about.
Keep it moving. I know we missed the Justin Bieber ride tonight. Darn.
Shoot.
Right. Oh, Zeus going nuts. He didn't like that. He did not like that.
Zeus.
Craziness.
When is the April one?
The April chat, it's April 21st. It should be a Wednesday. Let me just check the calendar real quick. Yep, April 21st is 2 weeks from today.
That's Black Girl Call Home?
Yes, and that will be on Instagram. I'll be live with her. Yeah, she's kind of a big deal. Like, she's blowing up in Target. Like, I think Target is doing some kind of advertising. She's just, I'm going to try to get her. I have to submit questions a week from today. So I'm going to try to get her to recite 1 or 2 of her poems. That Kanye one, the video, I'll have to find it for y'all to post with her reciting that from heart. Like, it's just, she goes in on Kanye. Like, basically, like, you're in the time, like, your mind is warped and you're in this trance and like you're a lost cause kind of stuff. It made me excited to read the rest of her work. I cannot wait.
So is it only on Instagram?
So the crowd kind of,
the chat will only be on Instagram. Yeah, so follow the Book Girl Magic page or Jasmine Mans, but yes, I will be live with her only on Instagram. For that one,
make an Instagram account. I don't have one.
Look,
I've been trying to stay away from Instagram.
I know. Just do it so you can watch the lot. You're missing out on like the versus battles, the Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Isley brothers this past weekend. Just yeah, you don't have to post. Just make one so that you can participate in these things because it's amazing. Instagram.
That versus was everything on Sunday.
Yeah, it was. It was really good.
That was epic.
And some
I'm
other
still listening to the playlist every day.
Yeah, so good. So yeah, and then the other book chat will be May 12th instead of the 5th. And then some other exciting news, y'all. I know some of y'all may see my post, but I'm like starting a candle making company. And so there will be I'm so excited. There will be a Book Girl Magic specific candle that I make for us. So I'm super excited for that. I made my first batch of test candles yesterday. Yeah. I don't know how I like come up with this stuff because my life is already super busy. Like, I'm a full-time softball coach as well. Like, I coach my daughter's team. I don't understand why I come up with these things, but I did make my first like batch of testing candles. It's a process, but they smell good so far. But I have to wait 2 weeks until they cure before I can light them. Man, so let me tell you, I know, and this is like, y'all might not know about candles, but that's like a big thing is how much hot throw and how much of the fragrance oil you put in the candle and stuff. The more you put, the better it smells. But I had them after I poured them yesterday. I had the lids off, and every time I would walk downstairs, it filled the house. There's lids on them now, so I can't smell them, but man, but I have to wait. This is the thing with candles, people don't understand. You have to wait 2 weeks for the oils to kind of set in the wax and stuff like that before you can burn them. So every time I make a batch, it has to sit for 2 weeks before I can actually test them out to see if it works. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't wait for No Oil Gray though. They had those buy 2 get 2 free for the Bath and Body Works of the day.
Yeah, I would buy them. Listen, I went to TJ Maxx and more, and I was in the candle aisle smelling stuff, and I bought a couple because I wanted to see. There was a scent that was coconut and lavender, and I fell in love with it, and I was able to find the fragrance oil for it. It's actually coconut milk and lavender, and it smells divine. So I bought that. I made a eucalyptus and mint. I made a pineapple sage, and a mahogany teakwood is the other one that I made. So yeah.
We people with sinus issues will thank you for all of those.
I know.
I can't do flowers.
And that's
all the rest of that you said.
I'm not a flowery person. There probably will be one fragrance that has flowers, and actually it's white peach and hibiscus, but it actually is not too flowery with the mix in there because I'm not a flowery person either. I'm like, I like the clean scents and the I like
fruit would help that for me. I can do fruit.
Yes.
Fruity scents.
Yep. So the pineapple sage is really good. I was in a hotel this past weekend, and they had Paul Mitchell had a soap that was lemon and sage, and it smelled so good. So I bought a fragrance oil that's fragrant or citrus and sage. So we'll see how that smells, but I like the clean stuff, like the mixtures. But so I'm excited about that venture, but it won't launch until like summer, maybe. We'll see.
We can't wait though.
Yeah.
We'll wait. said that.
Yeah, I'm just testing scents, buying oils, and I made my first batch yesterday with testing and, you know, doing a lot of research. And I wish, like, I understand why people who make handmade candles charge what they charge, because you literally, like, you have to boil it to a certain temperature. Then when it drops to a certain temperature, you have to add the fragrance oil at that temperature. Then you have to let it cool down to a certain temperature before you can pour it in the glass. So it's like, it's a lot of science, and I hate math. Like, this is the math and calculating, like, you need this much oil and this many ounces of fragrance oil to make one batch of a 16-ounce candle. It's a lot. I'm like, for someone who hates math, why did I get myself into this? But yeah, I'm
for us, and we love you for it.
That's it. And it's
We're
actually something I
excited.
enjoyed. Yeah, it's something that I enjoy doing, and I think it's kind of a way for me to create something of my own. Like, I naturally am a creator, and I love creating things, so I think it's kind of cool to, like, create sense and something that people will enjoy. So yeah,
we're excited. We can't wait.
I'm excited. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm like,
that's awesome.
But
let's do something.
I did have to cheat though. I was like, I need candles.
Oh, I cheat too. No, but I call it research. I cheat too, but I call it research. I'm like, okay, I like this scent. I'm taking it home with me so I can figure out how to make it. And actually I test candles to see, they're supposed to burn a certain way. So I test them to see, like, okay, let's see, is Bath and Body Works really doing what they're supposed to be doing? And, you know, protocols, like people who put flowers and crystals and all kinds of stuff inside their candles, like, that's a burning hazard. So yeah, you stuff flowers and potpourri, catch on fire. That's not good. So that's another thing. I have to get insurance, and it's a lot to candle making that you wouldn't think. But yeah, it's I'm excited for it though. I think I'm getting there. So hopefully June or July I'll be able to launch. And but everybody during this pandemic decided that they wanted to make candles too. So there's like a shortage of there's a shortage of jars and lids and things like that. So it's hard, but yeah, a lot of stuff is out of stock until May, June. Which is what holds it up a lot of times. So we'll see. But we're getting there. At least I'm testing now and figure out the scents. And then once stuff becomes available, I'll just roll it on out. So we'll see. But anyways, enough of me babbling. But thank y'all for joining tonight. This was fun. Maybe we went for an hour and a half. Look at that. Exciting stuff. So I guess we will see you guys. Well, I guess in a couple weeks, if you guys plan on doing the Black Girl Call Home poetry. Yeah, 2 weeks. It's National Poetry Month. If y'all want to jump in on that with Jasmine Mans, I think it's amazing. I'll try to find the Kanye poem that she reads so y'all can get a taste of her poems. But I think this book is going to be incredible. I've heard nothing but great things.
You texted it to me. So scroll back up.
The link? Okay. Because I just posted the since you're here real quick, Jess, you sent that link with Sister Souljah, the interview, the podcast. Did you listen to it? Because I hadn't gotten a chance yet.
I did.
So did they ask her questions about the book? Like, had the person actually read the book and asked her questions, or was
I don't think she had read it.
Okay.
She just kind of let her talk. And she just kind of went on and on and on. And basically it was, you know, like, if you don't like my book, I don't really care.
Yeah, she don't care now that she's got everybody's money. Like, what are they gonna do?
Because
take it back?
Like a New York Times bestseller. But she kind of. Oh, I texted you back when I was listening. I was like, she is on something else. Like, she was just kind of rambling. It seemed like to me. She didn't ask her. I don't think Demetria had read the book. It didn't, because she didn't ask her a lot. She was like, "Oh, we've all loved this book, and now you come out with the second book, and it's a New York Times bestseller. And tell us what you're doing, you know, that kind of thing." And she mentioned Coldest Winter Ever script and all. She said she was in Dubai or Saudi Arabia. She's like away right now. She's working on something. But
I'd be away too if I wrote a book like that.
She just kind of went into this whole, I'm getting the criticism about it, and I don't really care what y'all say about my book.
Look, everybody's laughing at me. I say, yeah, I'd be away too if I wrote a book like that.
Like, yeah, because we pre-ordered this book like a year ago.
Right.
That part.
I
was advertising it like hell.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for the warm welcome before we go.
Yeah, so glad to have you.
It was really nice. Thank you.
Please come back, Jessica.
Yes.
We're nice.
Please do.
Yeah, this is our little hangout or getaway. We get our glass of wine and we just come in here and chat. These
yes,
ones
I'm
I like are a little more
here, but yes.
Yeah, look. I like these because they're a little more laid back. I feel like for me, I'm a little more under pressure when the author's in here. Like I have to be really prepared. So yeah, the next one I'll have my list of questions and things. But yeah, it's really helpful. I really like these we just started doing Zoom probably a year ago, right? It's been a year that we used to go live, or I used to go live rather, by myself. And everybody would kind of I would be talking to myself about the book and then reading the comments and stuff like that. So I really appreciate what COVID has done for this book club, because it allows us to come together and see each other's faces, and everybody's able to share their opinions, and it's a lot less stress on me. So I love the interaction and having our girl time each month and being able to see everyone's faces. So really appreciative of y'all for sticking with me through all of this. So I'm excited for the next one. It should be a good one. I hope it lives up to all the hype that I've seen, right?
I don't want to dog this book, but I don't know how much hype there was more than nostalgic excitement about this book. Because once the book hit people's hands, the realities were, I haven't read anybody that said, other than Shoshana, that said they love this book. So,
well, guys, my suggestion is read the book for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't go off of the energy.
Nope. And that's why I kept reading.
Even me. Don't go off my energy. Read the book for yourself, and then you can form your opinion about it.
Yep.
Don't let a review distract you from appreciating a really good book. It may be a book that's not in your genre element, that you've never read before. I'm starting to get into Greek mythology. Something that I've never, I don't understand. I'm reading the sentence 3 times and it's like, okay, what's the importance of this? And then you get the hang of it. So always just pick a book, go on its journey, and see where it takes you. That's my philosophy with every book I pick.
And that was why I kept, because Renee and I were texting like, girl, I keep seeing these bad reviews, but I kept saying, I'm going to read it for myself. And as I went through it, I was just like you said, it's not that it's it just wasn't good for me.
Yeah.
Right.
This wasn't good for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. I do. I run into books like that, like, oh, I just spent a week and a half. I could have had a really good book.
Yeah.
I just spent a week and a half trying to get through this book, so I get it. Yeah,
well, thank y'all, ladies.
Good night, everyone.
Y'all have a good night.
Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
Good night.
Bye.